Hello everybody, my name is Ann Théato and welcome to the Psychic Matters podcast, episode number 3. If you're already subscribed to the show, I really want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you. There's a lot of fantastic content coming up, so do stay tuned. And if you're new to the Psychic Matters podcast, welcome to the community. Do make sure you subscribe to the show because I'm here not only to teach you proven techniques for spiritual and psychic development from the comfort of your own home, but I'm also here to investigate the teachings of experts across the globe to bring you their wisdom, their advice, and their spiritual wealth. I have some great interviews coming up for you in episodes that are not too far off. But before we do that, let's take a look at what you can do to develop your own intuitive gifts and the intuitive side of yourself. So in today's show, I'll be talking about the best places to train, both online and in person, and how to find a mentor and what course to choose. So, if you're ready, let's begin. So where do you train? You guys are super lucky because we live now in the age of the internet and information is absolutely at our fingertips. We can find stuff out, we can research, we can look things up, we can look up all these colleges and training workshops and get the information immediately. Back in my day, we had to pick up our information from a flyer or a friend or word of mouth or a magazine or, other methods. But so you're lucky, you've got the internet. Now, back in my day, I had 3 difficulties, so I want to address the 3 things. The difficulty I had was I was a single parent. Therefore, that meant I could not leave my children. I had no community around me. I had no family that lived near. So I could never leave my children on their own. So even going to a night class was an absolute impossibility. Even 2 hours a week, I couldn't have done it. And there will be people listening to this podcast who have that same issue now. Either you're looking after children or you are looking after elderly parents or you are a carer or you have responsibilities in some way that mean that you cannot get away and find those 2 hours a week to join a weekly class. Don't worry, I've got an answer for you if that is you. Secondly, financially, I could not afford to go and train. There was no spare money. I could barely buy bread and butter, let alone anything else. So don't worry, if that's you now, I also have an answer for you. Number 1, you're listening to this podcast so you can learn. As this podcast unfolds, I'll be giving you techniques and tips of things that you can develop also, but not just me. I'm going to be bringing you advice from other people too. But I have answers for you also if you don't have the finance and you can't go and join a workshop. Don't worry about that. And thirdly, it's which workshop do you do? Which one do you do? How do you know which one to choose? So I've got the answer for you for that one as well. Okay, so here are the places that you can go and develop. You can do a training program. So that's more than one day. You can do a training program with one person or a college. With many tutors on it. I'll give you further details as we go through. You can do a one-off workshop. You can do a weekly class. You could do a development circle. You could do a private workshop. They aren't advertised. You might hear word of mouth that somebody's running a private workshop, which you feel drawn to. You can do online tuition. You can do online tuition in a classroom scenario, or you can do online tuition in a one-to-one scenario. You can learn online with some of the most incredible psychic mediums and talented spiritual tutors I'll go through who's available online in a moment. You can join the SNU, which is the Spiritualist National Union. They have courses that you can do at home to increase your knowledge and your learning. You can join the SNUI, which is the Spiritualists National Union International, so that's for international students, and you can learn there and develop with them. There's a college called the Arthur Findlay College, and they have all kinds of workshops there. I'll go into all of these in more detail in a moment. You could go to the Barbanell Centre, which is in the Midlands of England, and that's a secondary college to the Arthur Findlay College. And it's based in the Midlands. You can do a course at the Spiritualists Association of Great Britain, affectionately known as the SAGB. You can go to the College of Psychic Studies. You can go to the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in Scotland. You can go to any expert in their field. You've got people like Tony Stockwell, Lisa Williams, James Van Prague. They're all doing online courses and programs. Etc., etc., etc. So let's catch our breath and let's take this slowly. The number one thing that you should do if you're looking for a place to develop is you should do your research very, very carefully before you decide on which medium, which psychic, or which workshop feels right for you. There are many excellent tutors out there, spiritual tutors. There are some fantastic, incredible psychic mediums out there. And all of them, all of us, we all have different personalities and different things that we offer. So you will have a better experience if you can comfortably connect with the person that you're going to be training with, the college that you're going to be studying at. If it feels right with you, then that is your number one hurdle overcome. So if you're looking for a college to study at, go to some of the top places. If you're going to study, go to the best place that you can afford to go to. That's number one. Because some of the best colleges, you've got the Arthur Findlay College, the College of Psychic Studies, the Spiritualist Association, goodness, if only I could say it, the Spiritualists Association of Great Britain. All of these places only employ tutors at the top of their game. They employ people who know what they're talking about, who know exactly how the psychic works, how the spiritual side of things work. And so you're going to be guaranteed excellent tuition if you go to a recognised college or place of study. If you want to study privately with a psychic medium, I absolutely recommend that you check them out first online. Look at their qualifications, look at their background and training, read any of their testimonials, have a look and see if their clients are happy and satisfied. Book a reading with them, perhaps, to start with, to get a feel for what they're like, what their personality is like, and see if you feel drawn to them. I think it's really, really important that you work with the right person. So let's just have a look at some of these colleges, shall we, from the beginning. Let's have a look at the Arthur Findlay College first. So the Arthur Findlay College so all of the ones I'm going to mention now are UK-based places. So if you're lucky enough to live in the UK, then these are places you might want to consider. If you don't live in the UK and you want to fly over, and come and study over here, I highly recommend that you do, then these are some of the colleges you might want to consider coming to study at. So the Arthur Findlay College, it is the most incredible place of study. It is the world's foremost college for the study of psychic sciences, and it has got some of the best tutors in the world teaching there, without a doubt. The Arthur Findlay College, have a look at it online, have a look at all the courses and programs that they offer, and you will be probably astounded at the variety of courses that they have on offer. They have on-site accommodation, so you can stay over. I've studied there several times myself, and I know that some of my very good friends who are also professional psychic mediums. We all go there and we still study to a high level because we love it so much. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful sanctuary. And you would just learn so much by going there. So I highly recommend the Arthur Finney College to start with. The Arthur Finney College has a secondary college affiliated with it, which is called the Barbanell Centre, and that is in the Midlands in the UK. So if you're living in the north of England or towards the middle or the north of England, then you can go along to the Barbanell Centre and have a look. They also have on-site accommodation and some wonderful tutors and some wonderful courses. You've got the Spiritualists Association of Great Britain, another absolutely fantastic place to learn. I started off some of my learning there. They've recently moved into new accommodation in Battersea in London, and do have a look at their website. You will also see they have demonstrations of mediumship. You can book private sittings with mediums there, and they do all kinds of courses and workshops. So that's the Spiritualists Association of Great Britain. We have then the College of Psychic Studies in Kensington in London. The College of Psychic Studies is a beautiful college. It's absolutely fantastic. Do look them up. They, again, have a huge variety of courses and programs taught by some fascinating teachers from all around the world. And they have open days there. The Arthur Finney College also has an open day, so do have a look if you're not sure what to study in either of those colleges. Go along to one of their open days and get a feel for the place, and just have a look and see the vast variety of workshops that they offer, or the things that they've got on offer. Incredible. So I highly recommend the College of Psychic Studies. There is, what else have I got here? Hold on. So that's Arthur Finney, Barbanell, SAGB, Spiritualists Association of Great Britain, and the College of Psychic Studies. You've also got the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre up in Scotland in Edinburgh. Excuse me, let me say that the right way around. It's in Edinburgh, which is in Scotland. It's a beautiful college. Again, wide variety of classes and workshops there. Some fantastic tutors that they employ there from all over the world. So have a look at the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in Edinburgh, Scotland. You can also go to the SNU, the Spiritualists National Union. They have home courses that you can study. You can develop at your own pace at home. They run some fantastic courses there, so do have a look at the SNU website. All of these websites will be in the show notes, by the way, and the links to find them will be in the show notes too. And the Spiritualists National Union International also runs courses. So if you can't attend the Arthur Finney College, say for instance, in person, then you can study at the SNUI online, and you can attend services online. You can demonstrate mediumship online. You can learn online. They have some, again, fantastic and very talented tutors in the field. So I highly recommend the SNUI also. You can go to some of the experts in the field. You have people who are teaching online. So online tutors that I know of who I can highly recommend are Mavis Patilla, number one. Mavis has been with us for such a long time, and her knowledge is second to none. I've never actually had the good fortune to study with Mavis, and I would love to. I would absolutely love to. But I know that Mavis teaches online. She also, if you sign up, have a look at her on her website. She offers occasionally free lectures online, so it's definitely worth signing up to her mailing list to find out when she's talking. You will hang on her every word. She has so much knowledge to pass on. So do look her up. Tony Stockwell, of course, I've mentioned Tony. He's my personal mentor, has been for quite some time, and he also has incredible knowledge in the field of psychic science. So do look him up, Tony. You've also got Lisa Williams. Lisa is British, but she works and lives over in America and has done for many, many years. And she is, again, another hugely talented psychic medium. And she does online courses and programs too, as does Tony. And you also have James Van Praagh. James Van Praagh runs... I can't remember the name of his school, but he runs a school online, and he, again, another guy with some incredible knowledge to pass on. I haven't studied with James Van Praagh either, would love to, hope to do so one day. And the other person I know of who's absolutely incredible is Andy Bing. Bing, B-Y-N-G. Andy, again, he's a tutor at the Arthur Findlay College and at the head of his game, and he runs online programs and workshops, so he's definitely worth looking up. Okay, but maybe you don't live in the UK, maybe you live in America. If you live in America, I can recommend the following 3 places to go and learn. You can go to the Journey Within, which is the Spiritualists National Union Church, and it is in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, and contact Janet No Havoc there, and she runs incredible courses with some fine tutors as well, so that is a beautiful place of learning. Again, I've not been there. I would love to go. I'd love to go and experience the Journey Within. It's definitely on my bucket list. You also have Omega. Omega has a couple of learning centres. There's one in Rhinebeck, New York. There's one in New York City, and there's one in Costa Rica. And Omega also offers online programs. So have a look at the website. Omega is huge. There are so many programs and workshops and courses there, but it's worth looking up. That's another great resource, places that you might find a course on there that you're particularly drawn to. A place that I can highly recommend also is the Edgar Cayce ARE Centre in Virginia Beach, USA. I was lucky enough to study past life regression hypnotherapy there and had a fantastic time. Some brilliant learning and a great experience. Such a beautiful centre. And they don't just do past life regression there, they do all kinds of programs that you might find interesting. So do have a look at that as well. Just going back to the UK for a moment, I forgot to mention Alternatives. Alternatives is based at St James's Church in Piccadilly in London, in the middle of the West End, and it's the UK's longest running weekly Mind, Body, Spirit events company. And it's internationally known as UK's landmark speaking platform for spiritual teachers and alternative thinkers. So Alternatives also run workshops, so you might find something on their website that tickles your fancy. They have incredible speakers from all around the world talking about all kinds of different topics in spirituality, and I believe they're also available online, so look up Alternatives. It's a fascinating resource for all things spiritual. Just to answer then the 3 questions I put at the beginning of this podcast. What do you do if you physically can't leave the house to go to a class? You learn online. Online training is definitely the way forward. Second question, if you can't afford to train, you can't afford to pay for training, how do you still learn? And what you do is you go online. Free training is available through some of the tutors I've already mentioned who offer free classes and free lectures and free workshops. So have a look at some of their websites and see what they've got on offer. They also occasionally offer free lessons in things, so it's worthwhile signing up to the mailing lists for some of those tutors to find out what you might be able to learn from them. And you can also go to YouTube. Have a look on YouTube. It is a fantastic resource too. And have a look at some of the mediums working. Have a look at some of the spiritual philosophy, the great thinkers of the world. People like Ram Dass and Wayne Dyer, who's sadly no longer with us, but people like that who are at the forefront of philosophical thought. That is a fantastic free resource that you can have a look at. And finally, which workshop do you choose? And of course, the answer to that is the one you feel most drawn to. Do check out your tutor's background. Do check out the fact that they have credibility in the field in which they're working. And then always go with your gut instinct. Your intuition will never let you down. So the last thing I wanted to say is I have mentioned several times now Tony Stockwell, who was my mentor, and I learned my foundations of everything that I know now with Tony. And I think it's really important, if you choose a tutor, that you stay with them for a while. Stay with them for a couple of years and learn everything that they have to offer, everything they know and everything they have to pass on. Get a feel for all of their knowledge. And then once you've done that, I think it's also really important to learn with other people too, once you've got your foundation. I wouldn't recommend skipping and hopping a bit with this tutor, a bit with that tutor. Oh, he said do it this way, she said do it that way, because everybody's got their own way of working. So initially, you might want to try out a few teachers, of course, until you find somebody that you really resonate with and you feel very comfortable with. And then I would highly recommend you study with them for a period of time. And then after that period of time, definitely then go to other tutors and find out how they look at the world, how they approach the field of the psychic, the field of the mediumship. Because it is fascinating and you can try out new things and new methods. And of course, if you choose a good teacher, this kind of tuition is never finished. It's never, this is how you do it and this is the only way to do it. Because it's evolving all the time, you see. The psychic side of ourselves, the mediumship side, the blend with spirit. It's never a finished thing. It's always something that's evolving, and there are new ways that we can work, and new information that we can bring in, and new ways that we can blend with our own intuitive self and the spirit world. So make sure you go for a tutor who's got a very, very open and curious mind. And the last thing that will happen is if you go and join some of these online training programs or training workshops, then you'll meet people. Finally, you won't feel so alone. You'll meet people who are on the same wavelength as you. And you know, when you're doing this kind of work, that is vital, to have people on your team who look at the world in the same way and who you can share your experiences with, who will understand you at that level. Because, you know, it's a very lonely world. Being a psychic, I've found, has been incredibly lonely. People don't understand how you relate to the world. They can't, it doesn't fit into their way of thinking. If you meet a fellow psychic or a fellow medium, they completely understand you. But people who don't do this kind of work, they look at you as if you're strange, or there's something wrong with you, or you're weird, or a million things. So it can be very, very lonely. And it's lonely as you're trying to make sense of it yourself. That's bad enough when you're trying to work out who you are and what makes you tick and why you have got access to all this information. How do you know that? That's hard enough. So it can be quite an isolating and lonely experience being a psychic and a medium, because of the misunderstanding that there is around people who are outside of this field. So I highly recommend that you train if you possibly can. You will make the best of friendships. You will begin to understand yourself. You will begin to understand your psychic side, your mediumistic side. You will understand why you are now aware of people in the spirit world who come and stand close to you. You will understand the difference between people from the spirit world, spirit guides, angels, other beings. You will understand other people so much better. And you will make, as I said already, the best of friends here. You'll feel like you finally belong somewhere, because it's a very lonely life being a psychic medium. It can be very lonely because there are not many people who understand how it works. And I do hope by doing this podcast that I will be able in some way to share my own, by sharing my own experiences, I'll be able in some way to shed some light for those who don't know anything about it, to understand how the process works. It's so easy to vilify someone and say, you're making it up, this isn't true, this doesn't happen. But we know when you're a psychic medium and you work with your psychic side, you're not making it up. You know what you feel, you know what you see, you know you can pick up this information from somebody else and give it to them. You know that you can talk to people in the spirit world and give them, their loved ones, messages from them. You know it's true. And I really hope through this podcast that I will be able to share the methods of how that happens, so that people who aren't in this work can understand it a little better, because it does look weird. It does look absolutely incredible when you look at it, when you don't have the training. You don't understand how somebody can know this stuff. How can you know that stuff? But we can all know that stuff. We all have that ability. Even if you've never trained a day in your life, you have that available to you. You have everything available to you. So I hope that by me talking about this, by me talking to other experts in the field who also have things to share, that we can open up this conversation, and that being a psychic medium will be something that we can all access. Every single person who walks this earth can access this higher part of themselves. A very big thank you to you, Psychic Matters listeners. You really are incredible, and I really hope you enjoyed that episode. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, because next week we're going to be looking at development circles and what they are. I'll be talking to a really good friend of mine and a fantastically talented psychic medium, Leslie Malone, who has invited me along to her weekly development circle to explain to us exactly what a development circle is and what you might learn if you join one. I'll also be talking to some members of her circle to find out what they're learning and how they're getting along. Meanwhile, if you feel you would like to investigate some of the training opportunities I've spoken about, I have, for your convenience, put everything I've mentioned in this episode, the names, the websites, or the contact details of each of those mediums or training colleges and places of learning. I've put all of those links and details under the resources section of the show notes for this episode, which you'll find on my website. So you can take a screenshot of that, you can print it out, and then you can sit at your convenience in front of your computer with a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or a glass of wine, and you can refer to my list and look at these places and see which ones you feel drawn to. One thing I should mention, I am a tutor myself, and if you did want to train with me personally, I do have just a couple of places left on my one-to-one spiritual tuition schedule, so do contact me if you're interested in training directly with me on a one-to-one. If you prefer to learn in a classroom setting, I am very excited to say I will be holding online classes later in the year, probably from the summer onwards, I should think. So I'm just finalising my yearly schedule at the moment, but if you think you might be interested in attending one of my online classes in psychic tuition or mediumship, both of which are huge topics, do contact me. You can head over to my website, anntheato.com/training. So that's ANNTHEATO.com/training, anntheato.com/training. Put in your name and your email, and your name will be put down on my priority booking list. So when those classes are announced later this year, end of spring, early summer, probably late spring, you'll be put down on my priority booking list, and you'll be one of the first students to receive details of those training courses. So once again, go to anntheato.com/training. training. Lastly, please know I'm here to help you out. So do let me know anything that you feel you need help with. What do you want to know about? I would still love to hear your suggestions for any topics that you want me to explore in this podcast as it goes forward, or if there's any particular person you'd like me to interview, just ask and I'll see if I can invite them to the show. But do let me know what you'd like me to, what you want to know from them. So, if you want me to contact somebody in particular and you particularly want to know this, let me know and I'll invite them. See, we can but ask, right? We can but ask, and if they're available, I'm sure they'll come on the show. So I really appreciate your time and I really, really appreciate your support for this podcast. If you know of anyone who you think might be interested in the subject matter, please do share this with them. And if you are enjoying things so far, I would really appreciate you leaving a review. Many thanks if you do that and take the time. It would be a great blessing for me if you would do that for me. Okay, so have a fantastic week, everybody. I hope everything is really successful for you this week. And until next time, my name is Ann Théato, and thank you for listening to Psychic Matters.